Another day and another medalist. Aren't we so lucky to continue our series of talking to people who have been involved with the Tokyo 2020 Olympics at the sailing competition at Enoshima? With us right this second, all the way from Belgium, we have Matt Wearn, gold medalist in the laser. Congratulations, Matt. Where are you? What's happening?
Oh, thanks, Nick. Yeah, I'm here in rainy Belgium. Supposed to be summer, but it's quite cold. But yeah, just spending some time with Emma and her family, and yeah, being in Ghent and just enjoying life over here while I can.
Absolutely fantastic. Very well deserved. And for those who don't know, Emma Plashett is your fiance and also raced in Tokyo 2020. My goodness, she was close to getting a medal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they what was it to say? Fourth's the worst place to finish at the Olympics. But yeah, I mean, she fought incredibly hard all week, and yeah, obviously just she was in a medal position during the medal race, I think. So yeah, to have just slipped off the podium at the by the end of the race, obviously other sailors did better on the day. So yeah, but that's all good. She's happy, motivated for Paris now too, which is cool.
Oh, amazing. And that's what we like to hear, is that athletes are potentially going to continue either in a coaching role or an athletic role, which is the most important thing. But your journey towards this gold medal, we might focus on today. I will talk to you about medal races and how you balance that day a little bit later on, because that must have been incredibly tough. Not that you're not a brilliant athlete, but talk me through 5 years of quad, from training with Tom Burton, who was a really good friend and gold medalist in Rio 2016, to eventually taking the spot in a very tight selection series, to COVID. It's just been full on. So fill us in on how you managed to push through what was 5 years of hurdle after hurdle.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is full on. It's crazy to think back at how quick that 5 years has gone, but also everything that's happened within that time as well. And yeah, like you said, obviously training with Tom and watching him have success in Rio in 2016, that was amazing and a big motivator for Tokyo as well. And yeah, and then to have the battle with Tom for the next 4 years for the selection was crazy. And yeah, obviously the results show that we've both been there or thereabouts at World Championships and Europeans and those sorts of things. And yeah, obviously the selection itself, when you get the criteria and the regattas that you got to go and perform at, and they've obviously chosen the hardest events of the year for good reason. And you know that you got to win those events to get selected. So that was a pretty crazy 2019. And then yeah, obviously was lucky enough to be selected over Tom. And yeah, he was humble with it. He understood how the situation was, and obviously disappointed, but at the same time, was supporting of me in Tokyo. And yeah, one of the first people to send me a message once I had the gold medal, which was really cool. So yeah, it's been a crazy 5 years, I guess, and yeah, especially with the COVID, that you get sort of revved up for the year of the games, and then all of a sudden it's sort of pulled out from underneath you and you have to sort of start all over again. But yeah, I mean, it's going to make the next 3 years pretty crazy, but yeah, the 5 years definitely went very quick.
Oh, I bet. And this might be a hard question, but I just thought about it sitting here. What was harder, 2019, battling against one of your mates and closest training partners for a position that was going to make or break your career and theirs, or COVID and trying to train through a pandemic and prepare yourself to actually go and win a gold medal?
Yeah, I guess different in their own right, but I'd potentially say 2019. I guess in some sense you're out of control of what happened COVID wise and lockdowns and all those sorts of things. But with the selection, you're against a fierce competitor and someone you've trained against for such a long time that the pressure and the anxiety of having to perform was probably a lot higher. But COVID definitely brought out some different pressures and some nerves and things like that, especially in the lead up to Tokyo. So yeah, they're both different and crazy in their own right, but yeah, obviously better for it.
Absolutely. Now let's go back. Let's go back to the start of when you started sailing, and in particular, I'm super interested if you can pinpoint when you thought either I really want to go to the Olympics, but more importantly, when you decided I'm going to win a gold medal. I want to win a gold medal.
Yeah, I guess I obviously got into sailing pretty young and wasn't overly sure what the Olympics was at that point and whether sailing was even in it, really. So, yeah, I was about 7 years of age and was just doing it because I love the sport and, yeah, like most people do. So, yeah, I guess that was really the motivator early, but it wasn't until sort of meeting the likes of Alicia Chichi and Tessa Parkinson in Perth and obviously from the same club as I was, and they were campaigning for Beijing at that time, and you start to hear a bit more about the Olympics, and obviously Belinda Stoll's involved and those sorts of things, and yeah, you start to get a little bit older and you're in the Optimus class and you're going off to World Championships and people are like, oh, you know, you can go to the Olympics. And yeah, I guess that was when I really started to think, oh, the Olympics would be cool to do. It'd be nice to be able to do that sort of thing. But it wasn't really until, I guess, Elise and Tessa brought back the gold in Beijing and going to the welcome home for them at the airport when they came back from all the parading and stuff in Sydney, that I got to hold the gold medal and was just like, wow, this would be really cool to have my own. So, yeah, that was probably around 2008 where I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do and I want to make this happen.
So fast forward 13 years, if you could go back in that moment, what would you tell your former self? Like, what was it that took you from then to now and a gold medal?
Yeah. I've been super fortunate, and I guess this period after the games, I've been able to think about it a lot. And yeah, I guess I've been super lucky that likes of Belinda Stoll and Arthur Brett have been there. And yeah, sort of they've been, I guess, mentors and as well as coaches from this whole journey. So without them, that would never have happened, especially at a young age, just jumping into the laser at sort of, 13, 14 years of age. So yeah, but I guess, yeah, if I went back and told myself, back then when I was standing in the airport in 2008 that, that everything was going to work out, and then in 2020 or 2021 that you'd have a gold medal. I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't change anything apart from potentially just those down times where things weren't really going well and you're not enjoying the sport. That just to stick with it still and keep doing what you're doing because it will be okay.
And I mean, it was an incredible event watching your results over the course of that regatta. I mean, after day one, and you know, you'll know your scorecard better than I do. What were your results on day one?
Yeah, it was I guess it was over 2 days really, because you only had the one race a day on that first day. So yeah, I think it was a 17 and a 28. I think was the first two races. Yeah, so that obviously not ideal and not the way you want to start in the Olympics, but we knew there was a lot of racing left.
Yeah, but a lot of people would not have been able to come back from that. I mean, what was the approach to actually get past? You know, and everyone knows that saying, you can't win a regatta on day one, but you can lose it. So how did you get yourself past that potential roadblock?
Yeah, I think obviously Blackers was a massive part of that. And once the Vang had broken in that second race and sort of turned what was potentially probably a top 10, or close to a top 10 into a 28, it sort of felt like the regatta was falling away a little bit, and I wasn't sure what to think, and was probably in a little bit of a spin in some sense. I almost had no emotion. I wasn't upset, wasn't angry, I wasn't frustrated. Obviously, wasn't happy, but I think you could see that I was in a bit of a weird state. And I remember him just saying, "It's all good. You're good enough to do this. You got the skill. Just go and execute." And I think that was just like, okay, cool. Like, let's just refocus. Let's go win the start. We'll go from there. And then, I guess we got through that next race. to finish off the day on a tricky course with a second, and obviously then a drop came into play, so it was a 17 and a 2 on the scorecard really, and everything was looking somewhat okay, still somewhere near the top 10 overall, and yeah, it was obviously 7 races left that and 3 coming up the next day. There was some good opportunity, so I guess I've also been lucky enough to work with Nam Baldwin. It's on the mental side of sport and how to execute under pressure and things like that. And I just sort of delved into all that skill that we've been working on in the last 3 years, and that definitely pulled me through for the remainder of the event. And I think those first 2 days just fired me up to not sort of go down swinging in some sense. Didn't want to leave the Olympics with a bad taste in my mouth, that's for sure.
Oh, and so many have. So congratulations to you. And those emotions and that lack of emotion more so, that's what we call a shutdown in terms of psychology. So you were incredibly close to not being able to perform. So well done to you for being able to pick right up, because that's probably the moment that you won a gold medal right there in retrospect.
Yeah, most definitely. Like you said, it would have been quite easily to shut down, and that third race of the series to be another high teens or a 20. And that, would have most definitely been the regatta done. The scoreboard pressure would have been too big, and points would have been too big. So, it would have probably all unravelled. But, when you look back at it, that second place was probably where the gold medal was almost won in some sense.
And then what followed on from day 2, you managed to string together such a fantastic scorecard that you won with a medal race to spare. I mean, that is just incredible. And I know that Blackers has wanted that for one of his athletes. And this is the 3rd gold that he's coached in a row. So, and you managed to do that, basically taking him into a medal race without that fear of, oh my goodness.
Obviously, after day 2, it wasn't really the goal. If I'm completely honest, I think we both were sort of thinking, a medal would be a good outcome here, no matter what colour. But that 3 race day, the following day, when we still had tricky conditions, and to get a 4.22 on that day was the foundations, I guess, for the rest of the event. And by that time, you're more than halfway through as well, and that day put me back up into the medals. So, I think once we were on the ground running, and I think we both sort of had a little bit of a smile on our face when we were going down to the yacht club the next day. And I guess the day after that was the lay day as well, so we had a bit of time to reflect. The next day we were on the water, and had a pretty good day off, and was feeling pretty good, and the body was feeling good, and sort of remember saying to Blackers, like, today's the target day. Today's the day we can get some good points. And then to come out and get a couple bullets and be almost 15 points in front going into that final day of proper racing, that we knew it was a possibility, and again, tricky conditions, but we just sort of backed what we could do and the skills that we had, and just went out and tried to execute as good as possible.
Yeah. So what are your favourite conditions on the laser? I mean, what are your favourite conditions? What would you think when you hit the water? You go out and you go, this is it. I'm going to nail today. I mean, generally I would say that it's more of a breezy condition.
Yeah, if I had to choose, it would probably be between like 14 and 18 knots. Some nice waves too. I like it when there's a bit more swell and a bit more, wind wave and things like that. So it's a bit more technical and a bit more physical.
So we didn't see that on the Olympic racetrack. It's more what I'm putting out. So, I mean, you won gold with a day to spare in not your conditions.
Yeah, I think that second last day was probably the closest that we got to it, with the onshore breeze sort of around 15 to 17 knots. And I think it was just nice to have that confidence in the boat speed, and to go out and get two wins. You kind of felt, imagine if the whole regatta was like this, but obviously that's not sailing, and you have to be able to perform in all conditions. But I mean, happy to sail anything really.
For sure, but I know that Blackers and I didn't go too much in depth when we spoke, but I know that he hounded you a bit in your training across COVID in the light air stuff. How much of that do you think actually contributed to this gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, it probably sealed it in some sense, that final day on Enoshima course. I think we were having sort of 4 to 5 knots for the most of the day, and maybe even a little bit lighter at times. So obviously right at the end of the light end, sort of being able to race. And yeah, to have the extra 12 months to work on that light air, and we really targeted it. And obviously got some guys in the squad that are really quick in that sort of thing, that sort of breeze as well. With the young guys coming in as well, with Zach Littlewood and obviously Finn's been in that squad for a few years now. But we're sort of able to capitalise on that time and obviously spend that time away from everyone else as well, sort of hiding and keeping the skills to ourselves as well, which was kind of cool. So I think when we came out and Matt Wearn was fast in the light air, that everyone kind of looked around and went, oh, wow, if he's good in the light air, how good is he in the breeze? So, so we have a lot to thank for that extra 12 months for sure.
Oh, and the heritage of the Laser squad in Australia is definitely something that we can all be proud of. It's been, I don't know, I think we could say 30 years of successful sailors out of Australia in the Laser. How much has that, one, inspired you, and then two, motivated you to continue that tradition?
Yeah, it's a massive inspiration. I guess the legacy of the Laser squad, especially in those, I guess from 2012 onwards, from an Olympic point of view, it's amazing, and you just wanted to be a part of that, and that was a massive motivator. But as well as what Slingers has done, his 5 world championships, and TB with his worlds in 2019, that you want to be a part of that as well, and continue that legacy. And I think that's also what's a motivator for me for going forward too, past Tokyo. So, it just inspires you to do well and to sort of continue on that legacy. And I think if I ever stop sailing lasers at whatever time that comes, that I'd want to be a part of the Laser squad in some sense, whether it's as a coach or a mentor or something like that, because you just want to see the lasers thrive and continue the success that we've had.
So if you're not thinking about stopping sailing lasers, that means that your body's in pretty good nick, and that's a good start, because if it's not hurting
exactly.
you...
That's probably the major impact, major decision maker, I reckon. If my back's still intact, we're all good.
Exactly. I think all laser sailors will understand what we're talking about, and you're welcome. Intense. So at this moment, I think we'll bring up this pretty special image now of you and Blackers and that coaching relationship that we were talking about. Now he's had a third at the Olympics, a bronze medal in 2000, so he's no stranger to sailing these boats, and by the sounds of things, snapped you out of a potential shutdown. So, I mean, he's obviously got a lot to give to the Australian sailing team, but potentially won't be continuing on as your coach if you do choose to go forward. What are your thoughts on him moving up into a higher role?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be strange for myself to being coached by Blackers for almost 10 years now. My senior laser career, it's all I've known. So that'll be a little bit different, but super stoked for Blackers. Obviously, as a human, you want to move up in the world and you want to go to new things. And Blackers could easily keep coaching lasers and keep having this success. But I think it'll be amazing for the team in a whole, having Blackers in a overlooking kind of area of the team with the technical director, and he'll definitely be out in the water every now and again, and he'll be able to bring in other parts of other sailing and other classes and things that we could bring back to the lasers, which would be really cool. But it'll be strange not to have him out in the water. And I guess, like I said, you're sort of used to having the same person out in the water with you for 10 years, and you have that bond and that respect for each other. But whoever we have going forward will be just as good, and we'll be able to go and have that success too with that.
Now, and before I chase you about your future, which is always the question that everybody wants to know, I'm going to play you something. I'm going to share this with you now. This is the this is the call for your medal race coming into the finish line from the SPP box. When I presented your gold medal, gold medalist Matt Wearn. Oh my God, I was crying. My producer's like, "Don't cry, Nic. Don't cry." I'm like, "I'm trying."
That's awesome.
Let's just share this little moment, and then we're going to talk about the medal race and just what it was like to win gold, and then the aftermath, and then the future. So here we go.
As we come into the finish, it is the Frenchman Jean-Baptiste Benet who leads, but he won't steal 1 minute of glory from Matt Wearn from Australia, who takes the gold medal. We will stand by to see who finishes in silver and bronze. Oh my goodness, fantastic action out on the water of Sagama Bay today. The German finishes in third, then it's Tonchi Stepanovic in fourth, Ha from Korea in fifth, then Pavlos Kontinas from Cyprus in sixth, and it is Hermes Thomas Gard in seventh, Carl Tapper from Finland in eighth, Robert Scheidt, the legend, in ninth position for his seventh Olympic Games, and the final race for his seventh Olympics, 25 years of Olympic sailing. Hats off to Robert Scheidt right now, and Sam Meach finishes in 10th. But it's all about the gold medalist right now. Matthew Wearn, he'll be looking for his coach, Michael Blackburn. And that is 3 consecutive gold medals for Australia in the full rig laser. The legacy started with Tom Slingsby in 2012 in London. It was followed up with a gold to Tom Burton in Rio 2016. And now today, Matt Wearn secures his gold medal. He did win with the medal race to spare, but did have to start and finish this race to make it official. We're standing by on the...
Yep, so that was you winning a gold medal. Does it feel real yet?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first I've sort of been able to hear any of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to listen to. Yeah, I mean, it does feel real. I think, yeah, being able to come back to Belgium and, yeah, just sort of reflect on the week it was. And, I mean, yeah, everything from when you sort of secured the gold to getting on the plane, it's just insane and crazy, and all the interviews and, yeah, all the messages and all that sort of thing. It's just been insane. But, yeah, it doesn't really sink in. But, yeah, now I've been able to stop for 5 minutes and, yeah, kind of get to show off the medal a little bit and share it with some family that it's been amazing. And, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's hard to believe, really, that it's happened.
Yeah, and here are some beautiful sights of you coming right up alongside the wall. I think this is almost one of my favourite photos from the Tokyo 2020 sailing competition. There was no bigger crowd than the full rig laser medal race. The Belgian flag up there on the wall as well, because straight after your medal race was the female medal race. And, I mean, you were getting lifted out of the water, and meanwhile Emma was out racing her medal race. Talk to me about that. Hard being on at the same time, I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've had plenty of practice over the last 7 years being in similar situations. But, yeah, I mean, at the Olympic Games when, yeah, you could both potentially come back with medals it's next level. And, yeah, obviously it was just in the moment and enjoying my time. And I knew that Emma would go out and do what she could do. And, yeah, you just got to let that play out. And hopefully we could reconnect and she'd come home with a medal. But for her to miss out, obviously extremely disappointing. I remember going into the doping control and there was a little TV playing the live coverage, and at that moment Emma was in a silver medal position and I was getting whisked away into a room and I was like, I just want to sit and watch. I want to see how Emma's going. But yeah, you have to do what you got to do, and yeah, unfortunately come out the other side of it and Emma wasn't on the podium. But yeah, it was nice to be there for her and console her after that, and yeah, obviously celebrate my gold medal. And yeah, I mean, it's an interesting experience, but I wouldn't change it for the world being there together for sure.
Oh, well, you understand each other's wins as much as each other's losses, definitely. But you are correct. She was in silver medal position at one point, leading the women's radial medal race. Josephine Olsen managed to get into first, which slid her up back into silver, and the gap back to Marit Baumeister managed to close up, so finishing in fourth. But the women's radial competition was incredibly tight in the end, and that medal race, it was the hardest thing to commentate in the world. I had fingernail polish on, and by the end of that medal race, I had nothing left on my fingers because I was sitting there going like this. It was amazing. So I hope you've had a chance to watch it back now. But she did you proud to not be there with you and to go out and be leading that race was just next level, and full respect to her.
No, most definitely. Yeah, she did everything she could, and unfortunately it wasn't enough on the day. But yeah, super proud of them for sure.
So you should be. And so on that note, we not only have you here with your Australian flag, but then on to the dais. And personally, that was the first medal presentation ceremony that I did for an Australian on the top of the dais. So I mentioned to you just before, I definitely had a little tear running down my face, and my producer was saying, "Don't cry, don't cry." Like, I mean, how proud was it? How proud were you being on the top of that dais? I mean, being a small child and dreaming about that moment, and they play the Australian anthem. I mean, it wasn't me, and I was so emotional. Just explain to everybody what that feels like.
Yeah, even now it's sort of sending shivers down my spine, and yeah, you get a little bit emotional. I guess it's probably the first time you get to stop as well and just think about what's actually happened too, when you're waiting for your name to be announced, and you sort of got a lot of time to think. And yeah, I guess potentially the feeling of the pressure lifting off your shoulders as well is probably a big one. All of a sudden you feel like you're 100 kilos lighter, and the world's yours in some sense. But when the national anthem starts playing and you start to sing along, and you think about all the times that you've sat there and watched other people in the Australian anthem being played, and you're dreaming and thinking about that moment. It just all comes rushing back, and yeah, definitely a little tear came down from my eye, that's for sure. And it was probably evaporated pretty quick by the temperature, but I guess it's just such an amazing moment. And yeah, wearing the gold medal around your neck, you're listening to the anthem, and you're watching the rest of the Australian team out there in front of you, and they're all cheering for you. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience.
Well, it was brilliant to watch, and once again, my hat off to you. It was a brilliant display of coming back from adversity, pushing yourself into a position where you just couldn't be beaten, and then just, coming home in style with a brilliant finish in the medal race as well. My hat off to you, Matt Wearn. You did a brilliant job, and all the congratulations in the world from me on behalf of the Australian public for all that you did, because it's been a rough 2 years or so, and I mean, that was inspiring.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the messages of support back home as well, and coming from everyone at home, has been overwhelming, and I think I'm still catching up on them. So but thank you, and yeah, it was great to see you there and have a familiar face walking around in the boat park, which was awesome.
Well, familiar covered face with my mask on. I'm kind of hard to recognise, I think, when half my face is covered.
Yeah. It worked well for me in some sense. I could walk past and no one would recognise me with the bucket hat and the mask and the sunglasses. It was nice at times, but yeah, it was hard to recognise a few people.
I feel like, actually, I'm going to bring up, maybe I'll just find an image now. I've got an image of the whole Australian sailing team, and I swear, if you look at, you've all got masks on. I'm just going to, where is it? Here it is. Everybody's got masks on, and it's so hard to tell who's who. I mean, you all look the same. Yellow shirt, mask, bucket hat. Yeah. I mean, how much?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of times where other people recognised me for Will Ryan and vice versa. And just like tall Australian in a hat wearing a mask. Oh, it has to be, got a 50-50 chance. So.
And then Malcolm Page was there as well. So it could have been any of you.
True. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
It's just we're all exactly the same.
I got tackled by Malcolm one day, and I thought it was you. I was like, "What? What is going on?" Oh, Mal! Oh, hi! I didn't know you were here. So weird.
Oh,
fantastic!
crazy.
But speaking about the Australian sailing team and the amazing camaraderie that you obviously all have, and we're very lucky as sailors to have a massive community around the world. Then as Australian sailors, it's even smaller again, and very much a family. What's next? What does the future hold? I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to know. You've obviously got life left in your hips. What's next?
Yeah. I guess for the near future, it's just some time off and reflect on the last 5 years, or 10 years really. But yeah, I'm super motivated for Paris. Want to be the one that can go back to back in the laser. I don't think it's ever been done before, so want to have that opportunity. And with it only being 3 years, it feels like it's just around the corner. So that's definitely the goal. But I think initially, I want to get at least a world championship under my belt. Been so close 3 years now that, and a couple of points on a couple of occasions that sort of it's lingering there in the background, and the gold medal kind of covers that up a little bit. But definitely that's the next goal, and obviously that's on the path to Paris. So but keen to keep sailing lasers and keep that legacy of the laser team going.
Well, fantastic to hear. I know that everybody will be very happy to hear that, because we definitely want to see you moving forward. So thank you, Matt, for spending time with us today. All the best to you and Emma, enjoying your time post-Olympics, and thanks again, and congratulations from the bottom of my heart. You sailed a brilliant regatta, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thanks, Nick. It's been a pleasure.